Not everyone around you is on your side. Some people smile, listen, even support you, while quietly waiting for you to fall. Fake loyalty is more dangerous than open hatred. Enemies attack from the front. Fake friends sit beside you, collecting information, weaknesses, leverage. Machiavelli warned that betrayal never comes from strangers. It comes from those who had access. And access is never accidental. From childhood, you were sold a comforting fantasy. Good friends are forever. Real ones will always have your back. Loyalty doesn't change, but power does, status does, value does, and when those change, so does loyalty. Friendship is not a sacred bond. It is a social agreement governed by unspoken terms. The moment those terms shift, the bond quietly dissolves. Not with a fight, not with betrayal you can point at, but with absence, distance, indifference. And that's why fake friends are so dangerous. They don't announce themselves, they fade. Here's the truth. Most people are too weak to face. People don't stay close because they care. They stay close because you serve a role. Entertainment, validation, protection, connection, access, status. When you stop fulfilling that role, your value drops, and with it, their interest. This isn't cruelty. It's human nature. In ancient Sparta, men weren't bonded by emotion. They were bonded by usefulness in war. A man who could no longer fight was not hated. He was simply left behind. No speeches, no drama, just reality. Modern friendships work the same way. Only now, the battlefield is social, not physical. You don't attract fake friends because you're unlucky. You attract them because most people are fake under pressure. Evolution trained humans to align upward, abandon downward, protect self-interest first. Loyalty is a luxury emotion. It appears only when survival feels secure. The moment resources tighten, money, status, opportunity, attention, true priorities reveal themselves. History proves this again and again. During the French Revolution, aristocrats toasted together one night and testified against each other the next morning. Not because they hated each other, but because fear rewrote loyalty. Your social circle is no different. Remove comfort, and truth surfaces. Here's the darker layer. Most people sense their friends are fake, but choose not to see it. Why? Because loneliness terrifies them more than disrespect. Believing in fake loyalty feels safer than admitting you are surrounded by people who wouldn't bleed for you. So the mind protects itself. It explains away disrespect as joking, distance as busy, silence as misunderstanding. This is not optimism. This is self-deception, and self-deception is the favorite weapon used against weak men. Belonging feels like safety, but safety kills power. A man desperate to belong will tolerate insults disguised as humor, being talked over, being used, being excluded, then welcomed back because rejection feels worse than humiliation. This is why fake friends test you early. They make small jokes at your expense. They cross light boundaries. They see what you'll allow. If you stay silent, they escalate. Not out of cruelty, but because dominance invites submission. In feudal Japan, a samurai who tolerated disrespect was marked as expendable. Respect wasn't demanded with words. It was enforced with consequences. Modern men forgot this rule, and fake friends exploit that amnesia. Fake friends are excellent actors. They show up when it's convenient. There's something to gain. The crowd is watching. They praise you publicly when it costs nothing. They support you verbally, never materially. They say things like, "I've got you, bro. Anytime you need me." Family. But loyalty without sacrifice is theater. History calls this court loyalty. Kings were surrounded by smiling faces, until the moment the crown weakened. Then the smiles vanished. Not with rebellion, but with absence. That's how fake loyalty always ends. Friendship doesn't die when people argue. It dies when respect quietly evaporates. And respect disappears the moment you stop progressing. You become predictable. You tolerate too much. You rely emotionally. Once respect is gone, friendship becomes observation. They watch you, measure you, compare themselves to you. Not as allies, but as competitors waiting for advantage. In the Ottoman Empire, advisors closest to the Sultan were often the first to betray him, because proximity gave knowledge, and knowledge creates leverage. Fake friends don't hate you. They study you. There is always a moment, a single interaction, where the illusion breaks. A joke that cuts too deep. A success that isn't celebrated. A struggle that isn't supported. You feel it instantly. But instead of acting, you rationalize. That moment is the warning. Ignore it, and you teach them exactly how to treat you. Friendship is not built on history. It is built on current value. It is not sustained by memories, but by relevance. And loyalty is not promised. It is earned repeatedly. Those who cannot accept this reality remain confused, betrayed, and powerless. Those who understand it move differently, speak less, trust selectively, detach emotionally. Because once you see through the illusion of brotherhood, you stop being disappointed by people. And disappointment is the currency of the weak. Now that you understand this truth, the real danger begins. Because fake friends don't announce themselves. They reveal themselves through patterns, signals, proofs. And once you learn to recognize those proofs, you'll never be blind again. Fake friends don't leave when you fail. They leave when you stop rising. As long as you're progressing, improving, building, moving forward, your presence feels valuable. But the moment your momentum slows, their replies get delayed. Invitations stop coming. Energy fades. Not abruptly, gradually. This isn't coincidence. It's value recalibration. In the Roman Senate, long after Caesar's time, politicians surrounded rising generals with admiration. The moment a campaign stalled, support vanished overnight. Not because of betrayal, but because stalled power attracts no allies. Fake friends don't ask, "How can I help?" They ask silently, "Is this still worth my time?" And when the answer becomes uncertain, they withdraw without explanation. That withdrawal is your first proof. Real enemies challenge you openly. Fake friends compete in silence. They say, "I'm proud of you," while measuring themselves against you. They listen to your goals not to encourage, but to calculate distance. You'll notice it in small moments. Backhanded compliments. Sarcastic jokes masked as humor. Sudden coldness when you succeed. This is covert rivalry. In Renaissance courts, advisors applauded kings publicly, while secretly hoping for mistakes that would elevate their own position. Competition never announces itself. It hides behind laughter. And the more ambitious you become, the more uncomfortable fake friends grow. Because your success forces them to confront their stagnation. Pay close attention to this one. When you change, when you become more disciplined, focused, or confident, fake friends feel threatened. Not because you did something wrong, but because your growth breaks the unspoken agreement. We stay the same. They preferred the version of you that made them feel equal. When you rise, you expose what they avoid. History shows this clearly. When Napoleon was still a promising officer, he was welcomed. When he began outperforming his peers, resentment grew. Not hatred, fear. Fake friends don't say, "You're changing." They say, "You think you're better than us now." That sentence is a confession. This is one of the most revealing signs. In private, they uplift you. In public, they lower you. They interrupt you, mock you lightly, downplay your achievements. Why? Because public settings are about status positioning. By diminishing you in front of others, they elevate themselves. This tactic was common in royal courts. Nobles praised allies behind closed doors, but undermined them publicly to control hierarchy. A real friend protects your reputation, even when you're not present. A fake friend reshapes it when there's an audience. Fake friends don't cross boundaries suddenly. They probe. A joke, a dismissive comment, a subtle exclusion. They watch your reaction. If you laugh it off, they escalate. This is dominance conditioning. In ancient warrior cultures, men tested each other with words before testing with weapons. Silence signaled weakness. Tolerance became permission. Fake friends don't hate you for lacking boundaries. They simply use the space you give them, and the more you allow, the less they respect you. This is where damage becomes irreversible. Anything you share in weakness, fear, doubt, failure, becomes information. Fake friends store it. They don't betray you immediately. They wait. Later, during conflict or competition, your private words reappear. As jokes, as concerns, shared with others. As narratives subtly framing you as weak. In intelligence history, the most valuable asset wasn't weapons, it was confessions. Fake friends don't need secrets. They let you give them willingly. And once they have them, power shifts permanently. This is the final and undeniable proof. When things get uncomfortable, when support requires effort, risk, or sacrifice, fake friends disappear. They'll say, "I was busy. I didn't know. You should have told me." But they knew. They always know. In moments of crisis, presence reveals truth. During plagues, wars, and exile, history shows the same pattern. Crowds scatter. Only a few remain. Those few are rare. Everyone else was just proximity. If someone isn't present when you're vulnerable, they were never loyal when you were strong. Individually, each proof feels small. Together, they form a pattern, and patterns don't lie. Fake friends don't betray dramatically. They erode you slowly, your confidence, your trust, your position. By the time you realize it, damage is already done. Now you know the signs. But awareness alone isn't power. Power comes from how you respond. Confrontation is noisy. Explanations are weak. Emotional reactions give leverage. The strongest move is silent detachment. In the final chapter, you'll learn how to cut fake friends without conflict, build alliances without emotional dependence, become the man others fear losing. Because once you stop needing friendship, you start commanding respect. Ruthless social mastery. And this is where you stop being exposed and start being untouchable. The moment you stop needing people, people begin to feel you differently. Not warmer, not friendlier, heavier. Because need is visible, and nothing weakens a man faster than emotional dependence disguised as friendship. Most men don't want connection. They want reassurance. They want to feel chosen, included, validated. Powerful men want none of that. They want clarity. Isolation is framed as failure. In reality, it's filtration. History shows this clearly. Rulers, generals, and architects of power always moved into solitude before ascent, not because they hated people, but because noise clouds judgment. When Alexander's advisors multiplied, his clarity diminished. When he narrowed his circle, his control returned. Fake friends fear your isolation because isolation removes their access, and access is their leverage. Machiavelli never preached cruelty. He preached independence. When you need friendship, you negotiate from weakness. You tolerate disrespect. You explain yourself. You compromise boundaries. When you don't need it, friendship becomes optional. Optional things are controlled. A man who needs nothing cannot be manipulated. That's why emotional self-sufficiency is the foundation of dominance. Weak men confront. Strong men withdraw. No speeches, no accusations, no emotional outbursts. Silence unsettles more than anger. When you stop explaining yourself, others fill the silence with assumptions. Let them. Your absence speaks louder than any argument ever could. This is how power exits quietly, without burning bridges or revealing intent. Trust is not required. Alignment is. You don't need to believe in people. You need to understand incentives. History's most stable alliances were built on mutual benefit, not affection. Kings married enemies' daughters. Rivals traded resources, not because they trusted, but because interests overlapped. Your alliances should function the same way. Clear roles, limited access, no emotional exposure. You don't share dreams. You share outcomes. Availability kills respect. When people can access you freely, they value you cheaply. Reduce access, and attention sharpens. You don't explain why you're busy. You don't justify distance. You simply move with purpose. Scarcity signals value without words, and value commands silence. Information is power. The less people know, the fewer angles they can attack. Speak less. Reveal selectively. Never let curiosity turn into confession. In every empire, those who survived longest were not the loudest, but the least readable. Mystery is not deception, it's protection. This is the final shift. You stop chasing loyalty. You stop demanding respect. You become competent, self-contained, unpredictable, emotionally unmoved. People adjust around you, because losing access to you feels costly. This is real leverage, not control through force, but through absence. Here is the code you live by now. You observe more than you speak. You respond, never react. You detach before you're disrespected. You value solitude over false company. You let people reveal themselves. You don't cut people off in anger. You outgrow them. Fake friends were never your enemy. They were your teachers. They revealed how humans move when comfort disappears and power shifts. Now you see clearly. And once clarity arrives, you don't warn people. You reposition yourself. Because the strongest man in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who needs nothing and cannot be replaced. Welcome to the Prince's Doctrine. If this changed how you see people, subscribe. Not for comfort, for clarity. Because the truth doesn't protect the weak. It sharpens the prepared.